We are up to the 5th chapter. No, I lie. The 6th chapter of the Mesilat Yesharim, and we have hello, Abraham. Welcome.
Hi.
Take it. It's a sunny day in Florida.
Yep, windy and sunny.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay, we're starting the 6th chapter, and it's called Zrizut. Oh no, not sure. I want to. Sorry. Slideshow. There we go. Oh no, I have to bring it across. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Everything wrong. Okay, share screen. Okay. It's an interesting way to do it. Fine. Okay. So can you all see my screen? And it's Zrizut. Okay, Zrizut is a very hard word to translate. I'm going to try. I'm not sure that I have it. It could be, maybe the best definition is alacrity. But let's see what it is. Okay, so he starts off by saying, Sur mira va'asei tov. Good general rule in life. It's in Tehillim, in Psalms, and it says, turn from bad and do good. So he says, if what we just had was zehirut, zehirut, we said, was being watchful, taking accountability for yourself, taking responsibility for yourself, was really more about sumira. Don't do bad things. Zrizut is about doing good things. And you need both. You need to be very cautious. You need a lot of character. You need to take time to ensure that you don't do that which is bad. And then you need an equal amount of energy to do that which is good, to make sure that you actually do the good things that you know are good. And his definition is, it is the early engaging in mitzvot and their completion. So one has to try to do mitzvot, right? Run to do a mitzvah, be energized, be with a bit of zeal, do your mitzvot, and make sure that you complete them as well. That needs energy, that needs dedication, that needs a focus. Okay, how do we translate this? I don't know. I looked up. I'm not sure which of these words I looked up, but these are all of the synonyms I could find: alacrity, ardor, determination, devotion, diligence, eagerness, earnestness, fervor, gusto, passion, perseverance, sincerity, spirit, urgency, verve, or zest. Choose your favorite one. Sponsored by Red Bull Energy Drink. That's what we're talking about over here. Okay, now he says like this. It's actually a very interesting Talmud. The Talmud says the entire day is suitable for the performance of the mitzvah of circumcision on the 8th day. However, the vigilant, see, I didn't even use that word. The vigilant are early in the performance of mitzvot and circumcised in the morning, as it is stated with regard to the binding of Isaac. And Abraham arose early in the morning. So why does the Torah go out of its way to tell us that Abraham got up early in the morning? But Yashken Abraham Boboke, why didn't it just say Abraham went? We would have known he went during the day sometime. But no, the Torah goes out of its way to tell us that Abraham had a mitzvah, and he had this character trait. He had what's called zrizut, alacrity, zeal for his mitzvot. So he did it the first thing in the morning. So from here we learn that it's not, put it this way, it's a want to say the Hebrew, ma'aleh. It's a maila. It's a element. It's a very important and worthwhile element in every mitzvah that we do, to do it with zeal. Right now, if you circumcise at the end of the day, as long as the sun's still shining, you've done your mitzvah. Don't worry. But if you really want to do it properly, if you want to show your devotion, you want it right now, you do it first thing in the morning. Okay.
But it usually is.
That's
Part of
why.
Shachrit.
Sorry?
It's usually done as part of Shachrit.
Exactly. So that's why straight after Shacharit, we do it. Question, why don't we do it before Shacharit? Why is it not done before the morning service?
Too dark.
Too dark? Okay.
Can't see what you're doing.
Okay. You see a doctor speaking. He knows. You need to see what you're doing. The halachic answer is that when you have two mitzvot to do at the same time, you do the one that's more common. Tadir ve'enu tadir, tadir kodem. Meaning, you've got Shacharit to daven and you've got a Brit to do, a circumcision to do. First daven the Shacharit and then do the Brit, right? Because the one that's more common, that's more regular, gets precedence when the two come together. Okay.
Yeah.
B, brazen as a leopard, light as an eagle, swift as a deer, mighty as a lion, to do the will of your Father in heaven. So says the Mesilat Yesharim, this is all about zrizut, right? They're all different aspects of being, right? You need brazenness, you need to face up to your challenges, you need to fight your own inner weaknesses and laziness. Light like an eagle, as swift as a deer, and as mighty, strong as a lion. So all of these are aspects of what this character is zrizut, of doing our mitzvot, and that which we know we should be doing, to do it properly, to not waste any time. And the opposite, of course, is laziness. Okay, so there's our favorite, right? Right? So we might not all display pictures of ourselves like that, but we can all surely relate, right? In one way or another. And he explained that really the nature of physicality, the nature of our body is to be lazy, is to, right? You need to, it's not automatic. There's no automatically get up and go. It's automatic, lie in bed and do nothing. So you need to fight the status quo, right? One can't expect of oneself, of one's children, grandchildren, right? One can't expect that that's going to be the natural order. No, the natural order is actually to be quite lazy. So one needs to get up and fight against that. A bit more sleep, a bit more slumber, a bit more folding the hands to rest, and poverty will come calling upon you and want like a man with a shield. I'm not sure what the end of the verse is. I looked up a few commentaries. I couldn't really work it out. But that's the danger over here, right? He says you're in great danger if you're lazy. Laziness is a terrible terrible thing to give into, because it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and before you know it, poverty. And that is the evil that befalls the lazy person does not come all at once. Rather, it comes little by little, without his knowing it or sensing it. He is pulled from one evil to another until he finds himself sunk. Right? We go down, once you're under the water, and we'll see in the next chapter, it gets harder and harder to get out. right? The zrizut, one's alacrity, one's zeal is something one has to work on constantly. And the more one works on it, the more one gets it actually. And the more one gives into laziness, the more laziness takes over. And when it does, it's a very subtle illness, but it's a terrible illness, and it lands up with terrible consequences. I'm sure we all know people who have been lazy, who have otherwise been capable, and have really landed themselves up in terrible situations because they don't do the work. They don't do the homework. They don't do the work that's necessary.
Take care of business.
So that's a good visual, right? It's a good visual, the sinking ship. Okay, we can observe with our own eyes how so often a person comes to understand his duty in the world and grasps the truth of what is required to save his soul and what is his duty towards his creator. But despite this, he disregards it. This disregard is not due to insufficient clarity of this duty, nor any other cause, but the heaviness of laziness which overcomes him. So it can be simple, you know, I know it's right, but I just don't have the energy. Or I just, you know, it really could be that. And in order to justify one's laziness, he says people come up with all sorts of rationalizations, right? It's too hot today, it's too cold today, I'm not feeling well today, it's this, right? They don't want to get up and move and go because really they're lazy. And the lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men that answer sensibly. It plays on one's mind, and it's very hard to overcome it within ourselves and other people as well, to speak people out of laziness. It's a very difficult thing because we rationalize it. We rationalize our own laziness, and therefore that makes it doubly dangerous. It's dangerous in itself. It's dangerous that once you fall into it, you start to think that it's okay, it's good, it's nice to rest. I need to rest. If I push myself too hard, who knows what will happen. The summary of the matter: a man must gather, a person must gather greatly strengthen. A person must greatly strengthen himself and fortify himself with zeal in doing the mitzvot by casting off himself the weight of laziness which impedes him. So that's the calling over here. That's the second character trait. So if the first one was zehirut, being careful not to do anything bad, this one is when you know that it's good, make sure that you do it. Follow through, complete your mitzvah. Wake up early in the morning to do your mitzvah, because if you don't, they will run away. Now, I wanted just to share one thing about a very beautiful idea about Pesach and the matzot. So it says in Exodus 12:17, Ushmatem et hamatzot, and you should guard the matzot. Moses is speaking to the people and he tells them, guard the matzot. What does it mean to guard the matzot? So we find from the Talmud 2 things. It means one should be very careful that they don't become chametz. They don't become, right, chometz, because the difference between matzah and chometz is just time. Did the dough leaven or not, right? Leavened, what is matzah? Leavened bread. So it's traditional that from the time the water hits the flour, you're only allowed 18 minutes until it bakes, right? So that's where we get this idea, 18-minute matzot, right? Because if the dough is allowed to rise after 18 minutes, that's already considered it's leavened.
It's leavened.
That it's
Right.
18.
And the fascinating thing is you can only make matzah from those doughs which can become chametz, right? So you can only have matzah from wheat, barley, spelt, rye, and oats. You can't make matzah out of anything else, right? Rice matzah or whatever is not real matzah. So it must be made from those five species and cooked in this time. Now, the other thing, ushmatim et matzot means, you should guard the matzot, is they should be made with intention. If someone, the matzahs that we eat on, especially Seder night, when it's a mitzvah to eat matzah, on Seder night, it's important to have shmura matzah, because when we say shmura matzah for Seder night, we mean they were made for the mitzvah. They were made for the intention of this mitzvah. I once in Jerusalem, once or twice, I think, was part of what's called a matzah chabura, a group of people making matzah. And there are many bakeries that allow different groups to come in, and you take it over for a few hours, and you make a batch of matzah. And it's a lot of fun. It's a very quick process, actually. There's a they don't let anyone do everything. So basically, you sit there rolling the dough. And if you're lucky, you get that little round thing to make the holes. But the guy mixing the flour and the guy putting them in the fire it looks like a pizza oven. The guy putting them in the oven. Oh, there you go. It's in our picture. Those are like professionals. But when you're making them, everyone says, you keep on saying this thing, the shame mitzvat matzah, for the sake of the mitzvah of matzah, that it should be made, that it's clear that this is made for the matzah. So that's where we get this idea of shmura matzah, right? And if you see over here, Jerusalem matzot, right? Matzah shmura, and it's going to tell you 18 minutes over there. It only took 80 minutes. No, it was baked by 18 minutes. And it says over here, mishat ketzira lemahadrin, which means from the time that the wheat was harvested. Ketzira is harvest. From the time of the harvest, these grains, even before they became flour, have been guarded from becoming chametz. Right? There's been a special overlook. Now that's kind of true for the whole of Pesach, right? You can't eat chametz, but for the first and second night, when we do the mitzvah of eating matzah, we have to have shmura, the extra aspect of intention, that they were made for the mitzvah. Okay, now what's that got to do with alacrity? Is rizut? There's the Rashi, I think it's based on the Talmud or Midrash. He says, Rabbi Yeshua said, Rabbi Yoshia said, don't read et matzot, guard the matzot, the leavened bread, but rather et mitzvot. Now you see, in the Torah, there are no nukudot, right? So we know, we have a tradition. It really says, ushmatim et matzot, guard the matzahs. But the exact same letters are et mitzvot. So he says, right? So you shall watch the commandments, just as we should not cause the bread to become leavened, so too we should not let the commandment become leavened, right? Don't delay it, right? Ella, rather, imba liyadcha, if a mitzvah comes your way, aseh ota miyad, do it immediately. Don't delay your performance of mitzvot. If you've got the opportunity to do a mitzvah, do it now. I don't know if any of you have read the book on the Lubavitcher Rebbe called, the book is called Rebbe by Rav Joseph Telushkin. But one of the chapters is about how the Rebbe, for him, everything was now. There was no delay. If something could be, right? So tell some story that he told his gabbai, he told his secretary, call so-and-so, said yes. And then he looked at him almost like, okay, what next? And the Rebbe looked at him and said, well, aren't you going to call him? So he said, well, I'll call him later. So he said, no. If you can do it now, do it now. Right? That's a very good
Next, if you want.
rule to have, right? To do things, especially when you know that you have your own laziness or you have your own reasons that you don't want to do it, right? Often it's just about doing it, right? And in fact, I didn't do it. I'm thinking of it now. Oh, I have to tell you the joke of the day. So, there I am putting in my leopard again and my, and the whole story. But so guess what happened? I looked up matzah, a picture for matzah, and you would never believe I found a full one-piece swimming costume with matzah on it.
Swimming costume. Right.
Okay, well, I don't know
Where
if
is it?
you remember.
Wait,
Last week we spoke about when I looked up the leopard picture, I got all
Bathing
these
suit.
bikinis, all these leopard bikinis. So today I got a matzah bikini. I'm like, what next? Okay, I'm just gonna look at bikini next time. Okay, no. Anyway, said Rav Yitzchak Hutner, a very beautiful insight. He said, okay, that's a very nice idea. The matzah is the mitzvah. You get the imagery. It's beautiful, but why, of all the places, of all the mitzvot we have, would matzah be the one to teach us this, right? Could maybe this message, God could do anything. Maybe this message should be in the tefillin or in kosher food or something. Why, of all the mitzvot, is it here by matzah? So he said, when God took us out of Egypt, we know that the reason why we had matzah and not bread is because we didn't have time, right? They were on the run. They were thrown out of Egypt. They were on the run. And he says that was the introduction to the world of mitzvot. What was God doing taking us from Egypt? He was freeing us for having to work for the Egyptians, enslaved to the Egyptians. And he was taking us to himself, right? He was taking, I will bring you to me. That was ultimately at Har Sinai, right, when we got the Torah. So God did that very fast. That happened fast. Why? Because God was teaching us right from the beginning. You're entering into a new world order. You're going to have a life of mitzvot. That's why I'm taking you from Egypt. Make sure that you realize these are not so much part of time, right? These are supernatural. These are above the physicality and the delay of time. Mitzvot come from a world of a higher realm. And in that realm, there's no time. So don't let any more time than necessary fall into your mitzvot, because you're on a whole new, you're living in a whole new realm now. So that's a very beautiful idea that Rav Hutner said. And now look, all of you can say such beautiful things at the Seder table. When you get to matzah, why do we eat the matzah? Because this all happened, and we should all, takes a lot of zrizut, preparing for Pesach properly, right? To make sure you do all the mitzvot, you buy all the matzah, you get rid of all the chametz, you make sure that you prepare for the Haggadah properly, etc., etc. And okay, next Monday we should be good, and we can all tell our tales of how it was.
Wait a minute, before we leave, I just want to share, my mother always has these sayings, and one saying is very particularly applicable to what the rabbi
Mm.
taught us today. And it is give a busy person something to do and they'll get it done.
Yes.
And it
Very
is true. The
Very
busier
true.
we are, the more we accomplish because we don't have idle time.
Very
Nice.
good.
Excellent. Okay, I have to jump onto another meeting. Thank you all. Chag Sameach.
Chag
Everyone.
Sameach.
Sameach.
Mayor.
Liberating Pesach.
That's-
A
good
liberating Pesach, indeed.
Thank
Okay.
you, Rabbi.
Rabbi,
Okay.
thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good day to
you.
everyone. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.